Today we wanted to share with you what we're doing when we talk about wellness at HCC. It's been, I think about the last couple of years, there has been a real heightened awareness on the school's parts in terms of the stress and anxiety that our kids are going through, because we've noticed that they are more anxious and it's showing up in different ways, and we want to make sure that we support our kids. And that's for a couple reasons. One, I talk about this often, brain research has changed and has come along so way that we now know the necessity to provide brain breaks for our kids. That if we're not careful, our kids will and could hit cognitive overload, because they're not only busy thinking in school, but then when they go home they're very active. And then there's that screen time component, which also is so hard to balance. When they go home, if they take their phones and they're sitting in the living room or in their bedroom and that screen's with them all the time, their brain is working. Where's the downtime for them? So we've spent a lot of time thinking about how to support our kids, and we do that in a number of ways. We want to make sure, especially with adolescents, that as they're trying to figure out how to be independent and they're trying to figure out how to be academically independent and socially independent, they also are provided the social skills and the structures to be successful. Within, and I think we've shared this before, but we always come back to our central question. And our central question has 4 parts to it. And we feel like all of it really talks about a well-balanced student and a well-balanced community. We talk about an active learning community where not only are the teachers active, our kids are active. They're active in their classrooms. We're talking about empowering them to take risks. And how does that have to do with your well-being? Well, I know that when I take a risk, and it's in a safe area, maybe there's some safe discomfort, I learn how to take a risk, I feel the joy of the success, I figure out how to maybe not always be successful, but be uncomfortable in a safe place and learn how to manage those letdowns. We also always want to make sure that we're challenging our students, but we also, the 4th part of our essential question of our work for the next couple of years is also how to make sure that we all, especially our students, have a balanced mindset. So, we have our essential question, which is quite important in our work when it comes to having a balanced community. We also want to thank the Byram Hills Education Foundation. They have done phenomenal work always for us. They've taken such great care of HCC in our district. In this case, this year, they are supporting a wellness program, and it's really a K-12 wellness program, but I'm focusing on the 6-12 part of it. Not only are we going to be able to take a fitness center that was utilized but not to capacity and really allow it to be not just about physical fitness but mindfulness, but we're also, they provided an opportunity for Stanford University to come in, survey our kids. I wanted to provide everyone with what exactly our kids were asked questions about. Because this has been what we've been all talking about, right? This challenge success, we're going to learn, we're going to be able to peel the onion down and really take a look at our kids and who they are and what makes them tick. Well, this is what, when I look at the survey, this is what I saw. They talked to students and asked them about how they spent their time, how they felt about homework, what they did extracurricularly, what they did with their free time, how much free or unplanned time they had each weekday, how they felt about how the teachers cared and supported them. They asked about the perceptions of their parents and their ability to meet their parents' expectations. Talked about with them academic engagement. How are you engaged academically? Well, behaviorally, meaning how you're behaving, how you're actually feeling in that class, and then how you're thinking in that class and what kind of engagement you have. They asked students about their stress and their worries, their health and well-being. You're talking about sleep and academic integrity. It did delve into a little bit of, you're cheating. It basically was questions about what decisions do you make when you have assignments due. And the results there, which we've gotten, were solid. We're very happy with our kids. And then students' perceptions about what could change. So then they were asked, here are a couple things. Here are 10 things that we could possibly do. Changing this time of the school day, changing exploratory. How do you feel about what that would do for you? And so we got all this feedback that now is part of a survey. We will talk with Stanford University, and then piece by piece throughout this year we're going to utilize these portions to learn more, to talk about as a faculty how we can support our kids. For example, today our faculty meeting is we're going to share the information we learned about academic engagement with our faculty. And we're going to ask them to kind of get in there dirty and figure out what it is that we will learn from this information, and then how this will change, or how it could change some of our instruction, some of how we work with our kids. Because the bottom line is, this is about our students' perceptions and their reality and how they're living, and we need to take that information and then move forward to address areas that we can really support our students in all parts of their lives. And that also goes for the parents, the kids themselves, and that's it. This has been a gift. So thank you to the Education Foundation for a start of something very, very promising. So, and then the last thing that Mr. Ancona is going to talk about is SAIL.
So just to give you some perspective, we've actually started some of the process of the survey, asking kids what they think about their environment here through this organization called SAIL, which is Students Acting in Leadership, and it's a group of about 50 students, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, who are in committees and they take on a challenge, something that they'd like to see changed throughout their environment here at school. So one of the things that some of the groups that are working, one group is working with Ms. Perfetto on mindfulness. Designing the cafeteria, or redesigning the cafeteria, is something that started with these students when they saw their environment and they didn't really like the cafeteria tables. So they came up with schemes and designs of what they'd like to see the cafeteria as. #kindness is also through SAIL. Recycling is going to be a big component in the coming month. They're working with an organization of parents to redo the recycling tables, just like they have at Coleman Hill and Wampus. So we're going to see those tables here come to HCC. They also designed hats. They're going to be recycling police, through them. The loop, I don't know if you've noticed the loop throughout the school, and it's also on our website. The loop is an informational system. Kids were just tired of listening to the announcements in the morning. Actually, of not listening to the announcements in the morning. So what they came up with was this system of how to make those announcements shorter in the morning, lose less class time, and this way they could all see it. So it's now on our website. It's through the hallways. That was all SAIL last year. And lastly, the PSA committee, which is the Public Service Committee, which is working with me on making videos for moral conflict and moral conflict resolution. We're taking on the difference between bullying and conflict this year. We'll see where that goes. Where kids are going to make their own little videos and bring it out to their peers.
I think our work, all of our work together, is about empowering our students, allowing them a voice, which is healthy, and that provides them with balance. We know that research talks about that when you do acts of kindness, there's actually a hormone that is secreted in your brain it's for your heart. It makes your heart healthier. So there's actually more that we know about our body and mind that we're trying to make sure we incorporate and provide opportunities to have a healthy community. And we're doing this also by role modeling. We make sure that if we're asking them to do things and take risks, we're going to do the same by using the Promethean board. And then we're going to set up a model today that's a co-teaching model for you all that we're going to move in stations. So this is all things that we want to live and support our kids with, and develop a community that is really based on empowering all of us. So it's my pleasure to also introduce to you the guidance department, who really does a phenomenal job. When you think about our middle school, you have the team structures, and we're talking grade level teams, but you're also talking all of the disciplines such as phys ed and music and art. They all meet and talk about our kids and how they're doing and what we can do for them. And they talk to them with the guidance department. So there's a safety net of let's allow them to be free, let's let them be independent and start learning. However, we understand in middle school there needs to be that safety net to support them as well. So our guidance department plays a major role in all of this work. So I'm going to introduce them to you, and they're going to take over from here. We have Mrs. Graham. She is our 6th grade guidance counselor, and she's going to talk to you today at one of the stations about #kindness. We also have Mr. Mack, who is our 7th grade guidance counselor. He's going to be talking to you about soft skills. Dina Lease, by the way, or Horvath, I'm sorry, she was married this summer, is our school psychologist. She's going to float. And then we have Ms. Clara Perfetto, who is our 8th grade guidance counselor, and she's going to be talking to you about mindfulness.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
Clara, all yours.
So today we wanted to start with a little activity. We've been working to incorporate mindfulness into our school day. And mindfulness is really about becoming more aware and being more present in the moment. And I think we can all relate to the cognitive overload Ms. Lepel was talking about. We know that our students, staff, parents, we can all relate to either the overload with screen time, multitasking, rushing, or just having a lot of things to do at once. So we really understand how important it is that we give our students tools to be able to take a moment and bring themselves back down to the present when they feel that way. So today, one of the examples that we would like to do as a group together and take a mindful moment as a group is a breathing exercise. It's very simple. So if you all like to join me, we can take a mindful moment together before we get started and break off into our sections. So it's perfect. You're all sitting down. You can get into a comfortable position. You can put both feet on the floor. I'm going to do it with you. And this is just, we have a lot of different tools that we're going to provide our students. This is just one of them. You can use it in your daily life. You know, your students can use it inside of school, outside of school. But you get in a comfortable position on the floor. And when we focus on our breathing, what's really important is that we breathe in through our nose about 4 seconds and out through our mouths. We're going to exhale about 6 to 8 seconds. It's really important that the exhale is longer than the inhale. And what you want to do is imagine that you have a balloon in your stomach when you're inhaling. So you're inhaling through your nose and the balloon is inflating, and then you're exhaling through the mouth and the balloon is deflating. So if it helps you, you can do what feels best to you. You can get in a comfortable position. You can put your hand on your stomach if that helps you imagine the balloon. But let's all start and take a mindful moment together. All right, so we're going to inhale through our nose and exhale through our mouth. Inhale through your nose, let that balloon expand, and exhale through our mouths. Let that balloon deflate. We'll do one more. Inhale through your nose. Exhale. Okay. So I hope that helped you all come back to the present. And help make you more available for all the information you're about to take in at the different stations. So we want to model as staff for our students as well. So we're encouraging all of our staff as well as our students to be learning these strategies together. And just like the students, for some of the staff, it's their first time learning them. So what we're doing is we're kicking off during #Kindness Week. We are launching what we're calling the 7th inning stretch. And this is basically a built-in reminder to take a mindful moment in your day. And we're training the staff and our students using this website that I'm going to share with you. It outlines several different strategies that staff and students can use. Each student will have access to this website on their Chromebook, and they can go through and choose a different strategy to practice each day during Kindness Week. We'll continue it throughout the year. It's just our launch week. And it's all about really finding what works best for them, both students and staff, like I said. So they can practice multiple different strategies, and like I said, we want them to have a lot of different tools that they can access when they are feeling that overload moment. So we've been working very closely with Dan Louder. This is his website. He is a mindfulness and wellness instructor. And he's been collaborating with us and with SAIL, our student leadership group, to be able to deliver this launch during Kindness Week. So we've all been working together on thinking about how do we build this into the day. So I'm going to show you an acronym that Mr. Louder developed with us for students to be able to use to choose which strategy they'd like to practice, and we can go through them today. So, and on this website, which again students and staff have access to, it's really self-explanatory with description of what mindfulness is and what the benefits are. So that's also very helpful. So our 7th inning stretch will be built into every single school day. And again, it'll be just a reminder to take a mindful moment, whether it is the B, our acronym is BLISS, the B for breathing. There's multiple different breathing exercises we'll be showing students, one of which we all participated in together. The L is for listening. So students can listen to a favorite song that's relaxing to them. We're providing a Spotify playlist on the website that students are developing. They can also listen to meditative sounds too, whether it's a tide coming in and out, or we also have these Tibetan bowls that they can listen to the sound to. You listen until you can no longer hear the sound, and it's very relaxing. So that might work for some students. So that is the L for listening. The I is for looking at a relaxing image. So we have a lot of different relaxing images available. These are videos of tides coming in and out, whether it's the beach or a lake. I don't know about you all, but I know for myself that's a strategy that really works well for me. Yes, right?
The beach and the sound.
It's very relaxing. It just kind of helps bring you down and bring you to the present. The S is for stretching, so sometimes students are just realizing, okay, I need to break, I need to clear my mind, get up and take a stretch. So we also are providing different stretches that students can do. And the S, again, is for listening to meditative sounds. So whether it's a brief guided meditation or listening to the sound from the bowls, like we were saying, there'll be different sounds provided on here that they can choose. So these are just some simple strategies that we're incorporating into every day. And you're right, students can use this. I mean, this applies to so many different activities, whether it's a sporting event coming up that they really want to bring themselves down and focus on the task at hand, you know, whether it's, you know, having a lot of assignments to do or a test coming up or a social situation that they've got swirling in their mind. They can really, if they find something that works for them, practice this in their daily life. So we want to provide them with a lot of different strategies to choose from.
Yep. And the biggest thing is we know it's not going to come natural right away. It takes time.
It takes time.
The whole point of this is that we're going to help them practice. So when they do find the one that works for them, it's something that they'll use, and then it becomes in their pocket of skills to have for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I'll tell you one.
I
You need to
know.
practice it.
Here's an example, for instance, of
Yes.
this is, for example, the lake video.
That's only Alex. He went back lines the first time ever.
Okay.
Somebody had
So this is an example of something they could watch, but there's a lot of different options they can click on. And students can also use their headphones so they're not distracted by the other students around them. This will be at the same time today, or you'll do
That's great.
It's going to be when it's appropriate for the kids. You know, everybody's schedules are so
Okay, so
different.
now
It's really
the
for when
team
it's
approach is when it works for them, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You
for
actually
having
talked
me.
about that in.
I want to talk to you a little bit about our #Kindness program. You might be familiar with it. It's a program that we run every year. This is our 5th year, so it was developed 5 years ago. So this is our 5th annual year of our program. So the goal of the program is really to challenge ourselves and our students to perform more acts of kindness. We developed this 5 years ago, back in 2013, just as an effort to teach students about bullying, but we wanted to create a different lens with our students, kind of come from a more positive approach in talking to them about bullying and cyberbullying, and encouraging them to be kinder to others. You know, I think that they had heard a lot about bullying in Coleman Hill and in Wampus, and we wanted to take a different approach. So that was kind of how we developed this. Each year we have various speakers and organizations that participate in our program. We usually kick off we have year-long activities that we participate in, but we usually hold 1 week in January where we have a keynote speaker come, and usually kicks off the week at the beginning on a Monday, and then we follow it up with various activities throughout the week. We usually have students participate in a kindness activity fundraiser. It's kind of a way for our whole school community to come together and perform an act of kindness. We usually choose an organization or a charity to raise money for, donate. We have a basketball tournament, a ping pong tournament. We've had a trivia tournament in the past. So we allow students to participate in something to do good and give back to others, and that's kind of our school-wide activity. We've had various speakers attend. Mr. John Halligan was really one of the most powerful speakers I think I've seen in most of my career. He comes in and he talks a little bit about his son who committed suicide when he was 13 years old. So he talks to our students about bullying, cyberbullying, and also about teen depression. So, you know, his presentation was really very powerful. You know, you could hear a pin drop with our students. They were all really very attentive. And I think, you know, it was really something that really tied into our kindness program and really led us to think about how we treat each other. And he also did a parent presentation at night, and I think that we got a lot of really positive feedback from the parents as well. So we've had him come twice already. We're hoping to have him rotate back every 3 years, so all of our students can have an opportunity to hear his very powerful presentation. He also talks a lot about cyberbullying, which I think is just a new lens this year. You know, as that's become such a prevalent part of our students' lives, you know, using the internet, he gives parents a lot of really good strategies and ways to deal with this, you know, internet safety issue. So that's really been helpful as well. Some other speakers we've had, Mr. Matt Bellis, he's a school psychologist. This is a photo from his presentation here. He talks a little bit different. Talks a little bit about making good choices, making positive choices. You know, how to be kind to one another, working together. Here you can see the students demonstrating an activity on teamwork, kind of relying on each other. So that kind of tied in really nicely as well. This year we're having Mr. Jared Campbell come. So this is our kindness week outline for this year. It's going to be the week of January 22nd, and we're having Mr. Jared Campbell come. Jared is an award-winning singer and songwriter, and he really connects to students, you know, on songs that he's written, and his message on bullying, kindness, leadership, you know, how we treat each other. So, you know, if you get a chance, if we have time, I'll go to his website, but if you get a chance, you can always take a look at his website. We're really excited to have him this year. He seems like he's going to be great. On Tuesday, we'll do a follow-up classroom activity, so students will get to reflect on the presentation from the day before and have a discussion about it. And also, our ping pong tournament will begin on Tuesday. Our fundraiser for this year is going to be towards Rett syndrome. Rett syndrome is something that affects girls, and there's a local family, her name is Bryn, and she suffers from Rett syndrome, and her father. That's going to be the charity that we've decided to hold our fundraiser for this year. They're going to come to our school, and then on Wednesday we're going to have Reverse Rett Day. As part of Rett syndrome, there is a way to reverse it, and part of it is wearing your clothes backwards. So we're going to kind of have all of our students and faculty participate in Reverse Rett Day just as part of our, you know, school community kindness event where we're giving back. And our ping pong finals will be held that day. On Thursday, our basketball tournament will begin. Again, that's going towards Rett syndrome. And we will be delivering a presentation that the guidance department will hold. It really includes a lot of inspiring videos. You've probably seen on the Ellen Show or on YouTube. There's so many videos out there that are very inspirational. And so we like to share those with our students and hope that they'll take that message and kind of go forward with it. And then on Friday, we end the day with a Crittenden Community Spirit Day. We have our basketball tournament finals held that day. We have a Bobcat Day. We all kind of come together as a community and really share our support for the kindness program. As Ms. Perfetto demonstrated, mindfulness is something we're incorporating this year. So we're also going to incorporate that into our kindness week because we're hoping that, you know, in order to be kind to others, we also have to remember to be kind to ourselves. So, you know, we're going to encourage our students to take a mindful moment. We have a 7th inning stretch that they're going to take every day. So we're really going to start to introduce that this week.
All right, about 30 seconds.
And then lastly, some other activities that we do throughout the year. You'll notice our kindness shirts that we're all wearing. So the students, the faculty wears these shirts once a month throughout the year. And it's really just in an effort to remind our students that we support this program and we care about the students and we're here for them. And it's really just a visual reminder of our kindness program. SAIL has been a really integral part in our kindness program, our leadership student committee. And they have a lot of really great ideas and really great things that they contribute to as well. We show video clips throughout the year. We create daily quotes and positive affirmations that we share with students on the loop and on the announcements. So we're really trying to keep activities flowing throughout the year as well. And here are just a couple of photos of previous years. We kind of lockers, we put things on their lockers, and this was one of the basketball photos.
we challenged ourselves. So each year as a department, we have a growth plan or an inquiry question that we have to work with. And we want to challenge ourselves, okay, how do we help with these soft skills kids be prepared or successful at the high school? And we decided we wanted to interview some of the high school staff members about what helps the kids be successful at the high school. We started specifically working with something called the Flexible Support Program at the high school, but then we decided we were being a little too narrow, and we expanded out to many of the key players at the high school. And we asked them that question: what helps the kids be successful in the high school and are most prepared for college? From the interviews at the high school, we compounded the results, and these were the 7 main things that we were told that help kids be successful at the high school. From those 7, we took 5, and we said these 5 are something that we can work with at the middle school level: the self-advocacy, ethical decision-making, the constructive feedback, resilience, and independence. So we decided, okay, these are the 5 things we want to concentrate on here. Let's figure out what we're doing at the middle school level and how we actually do it. So we asked, last year we surveyed the middle school staff. These are the questions we asked them: how do we foster the independence? How we encourage, students advocating for themselves? How do we kind of foster the resilience? What opportunities do we give for constructive feedback and ethical decision? From these questions, we then decided, well, what can we do this year to kind of really hone in on a few of them? 2 of the things that we decided to concentrate mostly on were the advocating for yourself and the ethical decision making. And these are the 3 parts we concentrate on. In 6th grade, we decided we wanted to start with the advocating for themselves, because I think one of the biggest struggles for it's hard, because as parents, I do it with my 3-year-old already. It's we want to try to make things perfect for them, and how do we do this for them? So even as Ms. Lappel said earlier, so if we're not feeling that success, how do we deal with that, and how do we advocate for themselves? So Ms. Graham's been in a lot of the 6th grade classrooms. She's been working in small groups about how you can advocate for yourself and setting goals in the mid-year, and then what that's going to look like at the end of the year. And one of the things we really encourage kids to do is literally just email the parents, the teachers at night. You have a question, email. Personally, over the past couple years, I was a little uncomfortable with it. I was like, well, I don't want to email.
My son, Rocco hated it, but
he didn't, but he'll do it more now?
I'm making him.
Good.
I'm like,
because it's a starting point. It's a starting point. No?
I'm like, no,
good.
you do it.
Good for you.
I mean, it's funny how he does it. It's
you know
just,
what?
But I don't change
it gets
it.
them. It's them initiating. It can be an awkward email. It can be anything. Hey, I need to see someone. Kids will actually schedule appointments with me now, which is really nice. Hey, Mr. Mack, can you send me a pass tomorrow at lunch? I want to talk to you. It's great. And instead of me always hunting them down to do this, that, or the other thing, they're starting to initiate it. Because email is reality now. So even just that small step of the kid saying, hey, I had a question on problem 7 yesterday, can I see you at lunch? Just so the teacher
And
knows.
what's great is they answer back so quick.
It's great.
Because I'll say, did you follow up and look? Oh, and I follow up and I say, now you need to answer back.
Yeah.
I mean, I still am giving him guidelines.
No,
and I
that's,
have to-
but it's him or her
That's
doing
what
it.
colleges say, that more and more kids have their parents at college going
Really?
into, like,
See, we need to avoid that.
and
Yeah.
I was like, what? You
Right.
had to handle that stuff on your own, but.
Absolutely. So we're concentrating on that. In 7th grade, I've personally been going into the students are doing the monologue project. I know it's a big project where you actually have to dress up as the historical figure. You present on it. You have to memorize some things. And from our information we got from the surveys at the high school, they thought that some of the students weren't citing properly the ethical decision of how we're actually doing that. So I've literally been sitting with them while they do research, and they're peer editing one another, and we have conversations. Well, how'd you cite this? Did you literally take it from your source and just type it out and just write the source, or did you change some of it? What does that look like? And how that rolls into 8th grade is they talk more about that, but they talk about the transition into the high school, where they actually use the website, theturnitin.com, which is pretty intense. They submit their paper to an electronic website, and it spits back to you what % of your paper is from yours or not yours, and then the teachers will say, well, I'm not going to accept it over a certain percentage. And we actually had the ethical decision-making club come down too and talk to 8th graders about what that looks like. So we're trying to say these are the things that the teachers and the staff members really feel at the high school help. How can we make that work for the middle school? the next step, I believe, we're probably going to concentrate on the same things here, but we want to try to maybe start to work more with the high school students about what, so we've gotten the opinions and the surveys from the staff, what do we get from the high school students as a possibility of, you know, what worked versus what do you think maybe could have been worked with more at the middle school. And then I think the advocating, as you guys, I could even see when you nodded your heads, the advocacy, I think, is one big thing we can continue to concentrate on.
Expectation from the day you get to the high school.
They don't want, there's no teams, there's no,
You and your student.
right. And if we're not preparing them enough, or at least giving them that real world experience, I think that's, you know, that's not good. So it's a challenge, but good work to be done. And I think it's cool how those articles that are being published in big time journals are talking about this soft skill. So initially when you're presented with it, I was like, you know, what are we talking about here? Soft skill is just kind of like interpersonal stuff, but it really breaks it down why it's important at these companies that are kind of leading everything.
I just saw one where you flipped through on that one article where it said what the people are looking for employers.
Yes.
Someone who's more kind than those who are self-advocating.
Think about it, right? It's interesting. So less of the resume, so to speak, and more of how we.
As a person.
Are we good?
Yes. I think so. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
What you experienced was something that we work with Marilyn. Dr. Marilyn Friend had come in and worked extensively with HCC on co-teaching. And she brought to us 6 models or approaches that you can use in a classroom. Some of the models would be one teach, one assist. That's a very typical traditional model where you have 2 teachers in the room. One is taking the primary component of the teaching and the other teacher is walking around to assist other students that need support. But there are other models that we are really expanding at HCC as well. There's parallel teaching where you'll have 2 groups and the teachers will be, you can make the groups in various ways. You could be scaffolding. One has some questions and the other group would be asking similar comprehension questions, but they might be either a bit more extensive that you will challenge the students that are with you. But parallel teaching, the trick is, and this is always counterintuitive to how I taught, the students, their backs are towards one another, so that the teachers here, their voices are going this way, they're not looking at one another, and so it allows for smaller groups and more intimate setting with teachers. What you saw here was station work. Now station work has been around for years. The trick with the station work was that instead of you rotating, the facilitators rotated. And I'm wondering how you felt about it. There's a bonus. The bonus is that there's very little transition time lost. If you think about it, you're not moving, you're not getting out talking, having coffee, whatever it was, there would have been, right, there would have been a delay. Instead, the facilitators move and allows the students to stay in place. So it really does help maximize the opportunity for students to learn and take in the information. There's also an opportunity that sometimes you can have a teacher who's an observer and you would say, well, what value is that? Well, what if there's, you want to take in how many students, how much wait time another teacher is utilizing, or how many students you're actually allowing to participate. And when you're the teacher in the middle of right in the middle of it, it's very hard. You think you know, but data's important. So another opportunity with the co-teachers, maybe once a month, you identify, you and your co-teacher say, okay, what is it that we want to focus on, that we want to support our students with? And then what data do we want to collect, and then how are we going to collect that data? And it could be observational, it could be quantitative, qualitative. So this also allows us some opportunities to reflect on our teaching practice and also the practices of our students and see how they're truly developing through an objective eye. The last thing was the soft skills. You know, there's been so much talk and we're starting to really work about these soft skills, and I know that Dave talked about ethical decision making, and one of the most important things we in our work feel is that our students feel like as they're younger and they get older, we tell them it's black or white, it's either right or wrong. You know, you either make this decision and it's a right decision or a wrong decision, but the reality is in all our lives as we get to be adults is that there's so much gray, and that's what's so uncomfortable, is the gray part of most of what we're faced with in our lives. It's not, if it was so clear that you knew you were doing right or wrong, it'd be a much easier decision to make. So we're trying to, through having our kids be exposed to this ethical decision making in 7th and 8th grade, we want them to see that it's a very gray area. It could be whether you share homework or not. Is that okay or not? Well, my teacher did say it wasn't okay, and I have my own ideas. That's gray. So that's why we want to make sure that they understand that it isn't easy, that there are a lot of thought that needs to be in place, and we want to give them those tools to go back to. When our high school students came down and worked with our 8th grade students for ethical decision making, they gave them role-playing components, and it was all about the gray. It was all about how do you manage and navigate as we get older, these very gray areas that we want to make sure we're doing what's right, and we see the situation clearly. So just the other part about soft skills that I think that we've spent some time considering how to support our kids and our community.